like Uncle Leo would say. And welcome to the BallNine Roundhouse. Once again, I am proud to have a panel of recurring guests, so this way Kaiser can shut the fuck up. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Chris Rolandelli.
Hello.
We have Kaiser. Suck it back your dicks, Kaiser.
Thanks, Vitali. Appreciate it. I'm not even going to give you the joy of it.
I can't believe you. We've got BallNine senior correspondent, Kevin Kernan, America's most beloved sports writer, ladies and gentlemen. We have Dan Tiant, El Tiantito, once again, our returning champion.
Going on.
Not much. And last but not least, by a long shot, we've got BallNine lead baseball writer and ombudsman, if you will, Rocco Constantino.
Hello, everyone.
Rocco,
I reported to work today, not like Mr. Cespedes.
we will get to that later. So before we get to that, I want to say this episode of Roundhouse is going to be a little different. It's going to be a little quicker, a little more rapid fire, and the topic is
the leadoff.
Underachievement. So I want to start with Kevin Kernan. This season has been bizarre as it is, and pretty much only a couple teams have overachieved. So I would really want to focus on underachievement. And I know we have 3 Red Sox fans on the panel, and I hate to do this, but talk about a team that's underachieving, the Boston Red Sox. Kevin, I want to hear your thoughts on it, and then I'm going to ask the Sox fans on the panel.
Well, I'm an expert at underachieving, been doing it my whole life, so we're just going to get right to it with the Red Sox. But this is what's been happening, Chris. These teams are all run by the same type of people. You're going to get a lot of the same type of things. And unless you have superior talent with a focus, and one of the things that Aaron Judge did with the Yankees, he brought them all together early on and said, listen, we can't screw up. We've got to pay attention to the protocols. Let's get it together. Let's play and he even said, this is an appetizer. The season's an appetizer. And the Red Sox haven't figured out. You know, in the first 2 innings, I'm not going to kill you with stats. I'm going to throw one at you. First 2 innings, Red Sox have been outscored 18-2. 18-2. So that tells you all you need to know. Their pitchers have been terrible. Their hitters aren't getting the job done. And it just so happened, I had a friend in San Diego, and he sent me a bunch of photos recently, including these from Ted Williams way back when. You know, this is the Splinter when he was really the Splinter in the PCL league. So that's some fun stuff. But that's my thoughts on the Red Sox. They got a new GM. I think he's really overmatched at this point, and I know all the nerds are pulling for him, but I don't see them out of this for many years.
Well, I do want to ask you one more thing, Kevin, about you said they have a new GM in Chaim Bloom, and he did a really serviceable job with Tampa with 0 payroll. Do you think he was kind of brought into a no-win situation, or do you think he just is trying to get his legs under him with having a budget but also having to manage another scorched earth Dave Dombrowski policy type thing?
Well, Dave goes right for the jugular, and he leaves some stuff behind where you're not there. But he did have things. He had Mookie Betts. He could have got more for him. And I'm going to set the record straight right with this too, with the Rays, because I know a lot of people in that organization. I know the ownership real well. They have their guys that are Google guys, and that's what they refer to them, Google guys. You know, the GMs, the nerds, but they have one of the best player development systems in baseball. Those are the guys that are getting the job done. They never let those guys go. Those guys stay. So to me, Bloom has got a lot to show. I most of the media, and this is where I'm different, most of the media is already kissing his butt from day one. I'm not going to do that. I think he's overrated.
Interesting. Now, Kaiser, you are, we call you the scout because, you know everybody who's ever farted in the Red Sox organization. What do you think about this? I mean, what do you think as a fan about this thing that you're seeing happen in Boston?
Well, let's start off with the whole Dombrowski thing. You can't say Dombrowski without saying dumb. He does a lot of dumb shit. I mean, he rapes the farm system. He brings in high-priced talent. And then the thing that he did that killed everyone was that he went out and he gave these huge contracts to Chris Sale. He gave huge contracts out, and that left no money to bring in anyone else, really. Now, Chaim Bloom, to get to him, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's coming from Tampa. He's got all that. So it's going to take him some time to get there. But think about the things that he's had to deal with in the first 200 days of him being a GM. He had to deal with his manager getting fired, who that wasn't on the radar anywhere. So all of a sudden your manager's gone. So now you have a manager search. Then you trade Mookie Betts. But then the package that you're getting for him is damaged goods. So now all of a sudden you've got to go back. And then you got to redo that deal.
Now, really quickly, was it damaged goods? Because Brusdar Graterol is showing up in L.A. and he's throwing 100 and he's firing piss missiles. Really?
Hey, listen,
I think that was a terrible move. You wound up with Verdugo, and that's it. That's all you got for them? Yes, I get Price was a salary dump, and that's fine. And he opted out anyway, so that actually did work out in the Sox favor. But just getting Verdugo for those two,
listen, dude,
I think it's
I don't think there's
ridiculous.
anyone out there that's going to tell you that the Sox probably could have got more, but I don't think they got as much for Betts because you had to include in David Price.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Verdugo, I hope they threw in a bag of baseballs. Dan, I want to hear what you have to say about this.
I'm very disappointed. Very disappointed. I mean, look, I don't know much about Bloom. I've talked to him, to his guys a little bit with one of our players that signed who was a former Ray, who's now with the Red Sox. Look, I'm with Kevin on this. You can't glorify these guys when they haven't done anything yet. They need to prove themselves. And to get in a position like this, they're quick. These teams are quick to hire these guys, and they really haven't done much. It's just a couple of years, they have a good season, and boom, we're going to get him a top position with another organization. He's got a lot to prove, and I hope they're patient with him. I wish him the best, and I hope he does well. But right now, he got dealt a really bad hand because of what Dombrowski left him with. It's going to be tough to get out of that. But if hopefully the team is patient with them, and they'll let them develop what they got. I do like Tampa. I like what they've done. I like their track record, and hopefully he can bring that to Boston.
So, Kevin, you spoke about this last week in your column that, Tampa might not be able to keep up just from the talent level. And now they're already four games back, I believe, in the loss column to the Yankees. And, is that an insurmountable lead to make up now? And, Rolly, I'm going to get to you right after this, but I want to hear Kevin answer that one.
Well, I think the Yankees are going to – if you're anybody in the East or anywhere, you can't even think about the Yankees. Yankees are by far the best team. They're going to just keep rolling. They have too much offense. Their guys aren't even hitting yet, and they're doing what they're doing. So you just got to get in the tournament and go from there. And the Rays will get there. But here's what I don't like. I've been watching a lot of the Rays games. Base running has been brutal. And I think that's been the overriding theme in this whole early season. Base running throughout baseball is terrible, and because they don't put any effort into it. These guys think they can just show up now and play. You're going to win games with fundamentals and base running. And the Rays, I think, eventually will get there, and that'll be the difference. The thing that scares me, though, with the Red Sox is if you just turn off the sound and watch the game, everybody gets up is the same guy, about 5'9", doesn't look like he's going to do any damage, and that's it. And that's where they're going with that. And Devers, Devers, he's not playing. His head is not there. You can just see it's affecting different players the way with this shutdown and having to start and everything else. If you're not self-motivated, you're in trouble.
Well, see, I agree with you. And like you said, Devers almost looks like he's lost out there. And another guy who looks like he's lost is Benintendi. And Rolly, I know, you're, as a fellow Italian, we want to see Benintendi do something. So I want to hear what you think about the slow start. And is it something that is going to be, is it fixable this year or is it fixable next year? Or is this going to be a long-term rebuild?
I don't know. Is it worth fixing this year? I mean,
that's a good point.
Why would you dump a bunch of guys or try to pick up some guys to play a lost season pretty much? I mean, the one thing that bugged me, I was watching the game the other night, and the announcer, I think it was Remy, said Martinez isn't hitting as well because he's not allowed to go back and watch the tapes of his at-bats.
Really?
And I thought, I'm sitting there and I'm going, You got to be kidding me. Could you imagine the best hitters in baseball saying, I can't hit because I can't go back and watch video of my previous at-bats?
Yeah.
I mean, that alone, that drove me crazy. I had to turn it. After that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And
that's today's player, though. That's their play. That's they look for excuses.
I know. There's just so much reliance on technology as opposed to just going out and playing the game. And I think in the Sox case, there doesn't look like a leader on the team. You know, there's
Good
no
point.
leadership. And as much as like Brock Holt maybe wasn't the best baseball player in the world, the dude was like, he had heart. He got into a game, he did something, and whether it was make a catch or get a single or get a walk, something, and spark the team. You're watching the Sox, and it's like a dead baseball team out there.
No, I agree with you, and I think a lot of that has to do with Pedroia going down. And I mean, he was the heart and soul of that team. He really was. I mean,
Yeah, but Joy hasn't been there in 5 years.
yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, but still,
I know what you're saying.
you know what I'm saying? I mean, like, you know, I mean, they don't have that guy. I mean, like,
Well, you know,
I hate the Red Sox, but I always respected the hell out of Pedroia. I always hated Varitek, but I respected the hell out of him.
Baseball's
Guys
always
don't
better
have
when the
that
Red
guy.
Sox is good. The Red Sox and Yankees are good.
Yeah, nobody really gives a rat's ass if it's a Yankees-Rays rivalry. And that's just the God's honest truth.
I think David Bogarts is trying to become that guy.
And I get that.
And Mookie Betts was that guy.
He was that guy, and he's gone.
And then you ripped him out of there. So I mean, it's a lost team. They're a boat
You're
without
right.
a rudder.
Verdugo is not going to be that guy. I'm sorry.
this is the part where baseball is Kevin. We always talk about these computer guys, these nerds. This is what they don't get.
Exactly.
When you rip the heart and soul of a team.
Exactly.
Team. It's a team. They're teammates. You know, they don't think it affects you when you trade somebody who's your team leader. Not everybody is a vocal team leader. Not everybody's a Pedroia. Not everybody's a Brock Holt. And you need some of those guys to keep the team together, keep them focused, and keep them going. I love JD Martinez. I don't think he's that guy to be the vocal team leader. He focuses on his hitting and just what he does, and he's a professional. Love the guy. But you also sometimes need that spark plug, and they just think it's, all right, we're just going to trade this guy away to that guy away. It's no big deal. And they don't realize the damage it does do to an organization, a team, when you rip those parts out. Those are the important pieces of a team, and they do it. It seems to be going on every year now. And right now, the Red Sox are a team that are really suffering by it because they don't have those guys.
And human nature is when they take away your best player, the rest. I've been in a million clubhouses. I've talked to a million guys through the years. You take away the best player like that, what do they say? Young guy. Everybody else in the clubhouse says that they're not even trying. Management's not even trying. So it's psychologically, it destroys them from within.
And that's something that, you know, that is lost in today's game is just, you know, I mean, when everything is about numbers and computer printouts, the human element is gone. And you know, that's going to make me transition into the Mets a little bit. I mean, kind of the same thing happened. I mean, in my mind, and I don't know, Rocco, Kevin, you guys would know a lot better than I do. It seemed like once David Wright was gone, I mean, even when he was just on the bench, at least they had that leader. They had that leader in the clubhouse. They had somebody that, you know, could kind of motivate. And Rocco, I want to go to you. I mean, like, we're looking at the Mets, and it's the same old Mets again. And nobody thought this was going to happen. I mean, a lot of us thought the Mets were really going to just get a stranglehold on the NL East, and it obviously hasn't happened. So, Rocco, I want to ask you that one.
Yeah, I agree. They're underachieving for sure, and I mean it's the same kind of old thing with the bullpen, and you can point your fingers at Diaz and things like that. But what you speak to with David Wright, I completely agree, and I think all you need to do is go back and look at 2015. Wright played less than 50 games, and but he was there. He's in the dugout. He's there to support on that run, and he's leading in the clubhouse. And, he didn't have a great postseason. I think he was – I'll have to check it out myself, but I think he was under 200 batting average. But just having his presence there speaks to that. It helps calm, those guys, the young guys that were playing at the time. Conforto was young, and people like that. So, Alonso, he's the new leader. He's the new face of the Mets. And now he's dealing with the difficult time. He looks lost at the plate. He's really having his first big slump that he's been in, aside from a little blip last year. But this is the first time I'm seeing him without any confidence. And it's one of those things that it looks like as Alonso goes, the Mets go, because they have some guys hitting. Cano's hitting, McNeil's hitting. They're getting some starting pitching, but it's just seems to me that Alonso is the key there, and he needs to get himself going.
I agree with you. And Kevin, you know both guys. You know David Wright. You know Pete Alonso. You've spoken to them at length, both. I am curious to hear your thoughts on that as well, because, I mean, the Mets, and it's easy to put the blame on Brodie Van Wagenen. He definitely shoulders some of the blame. Absolutely. But, I mean, about the players, I mean, do you think Alonso's ready to be that guy in New York, kind of like Aaron Judge is with the Yankees?
Well, the problem is with the Mets, they always look at the glass as half full. If so-and-so does this, they never anticipated Alonso coming back to earth. Now, Watching him in spring training, I even talked to him about it. I said, your swing looks a little different this year. You're trying something. I was trying to be nice, he just didn't seem – he seems that he's getting out too quick. Just the best baseball term I can think of. He's jumping at everything. He's not staying back. And if you watch the series over the weekend, they scored some runs early on, but they're not getting a clutch hit because you can just see they're all trying too hard. Cespedes, they kind of too much about him. I'm not going to get into him now. But if they're trying too hard, and if you have a guy like Travis d'Arnaud, who you traded away, he ate them up. And I'm not talking about offensively. He did a phenomenal job catching.
Calling
games.
In
the ninth inning, he got McNeil struck out on a pitch that McNeil can't handle. He knows their weaknesses. And Alonso had a bad day because of that. The Mets are just, right now, it's a typical Mets thing. They usually do this in June. Since there was no June, they're doing it now.
Yeah, that's understandable. And that is going to bring us.
Hey, it's Joe from Mudville. Huge question. Where in the world is Yoenis Cespedes? When you find him, let me know. Thanks.
Rocco Constantino, I figure you should answer this one first.
Oh, man. Well, he's cleared out his hotel room. I will say I'm very happy to hear that he was at least safe and healthy, and now I could be rightfully angry at him. But, yeah, he's out cleared his hotel room. He's in his Polaris slingshot, headed to the closest high-end golf course that he could possibly find. And that's where he'll end out the summer.
All right, fair enough. Dan, where in the world is Yoenis Cespedes?
On his horse riding off into the sunset.
He's
a big horse guy.
You think that's it? You think he's done?
I don't know. I mean, look, he loves his horses. He likes riding out there. He's big into his ranch. I think something I'm going to say snapped, but he just probably says, I don't want to do this and going to just enjoy the ranch.
I think that's totally fair. Kaiser, where in the world is Yoenis Cespedes?
I just got info. Just a second ago. I know where he is.
Look at you.
I know where he is.
If you say he's in St. Augustine.
Carriage ride in Central Park the other day. And he's got a can of beefarino with him, and he says back. He's not coming back, baby.
I appreciate the Seinfeld reference. Thank you. Rolly.
I think Tiant sent him a case of cigars, and he's going up to Saratoga for the races. Racing season, baby.
He does love horses, right?
Yeah. Who doesn't?
Oh,
boy. I'm not betting them.
And Kevin Kernan, where in the world is Yoenis Cespedes?
Well, if you watch the game on Saturday night when he had a bad game, and I know him so well, he looks so disgusted. I almost felt bad for him, and I don't feel bad for him because, he's got everything going for him. But I almost felt bad for him. And let me throw this out there, and this is off the wall a little bit, but he's an independent soul. He wants to do his thing. And Dan made a great point. I've talked to him about his ranches. He's got a couple of them. He loves that kind of stuff. I think he might be doing that. But here's the other thing. He runs the Mets. He basically ran the Mets clubhouse the last few years. He always, before games in different areas at a clubhouse, he'll smoke a cigarette in between, and if he's DHing now, I'm just wondering if all these protocols got to him as well. Because maybe you can't do that kind of stuff now in the ballpark. Maybe he can't spend the time in the food room. The Mets have the greatest chef in the world, and the woman and her mom, the Latino, and he spent so much time with those people. He just felt so comfortable, and you got to see a different side of Cespedes in there. So I just think his comfort zone is not there because he can't do what he wants to do. His body's maybe betraying him a little bit, and then he's got to put up with all this stuff where maybe there's a class monitor saying, no, you can't smoke. So I think it's all caught up to him.
Interesting. I mean, do you think he just opts out after this? And
yeah, I think he'll come back. I think he needs a break from this season. He probably thinks he's got one more year left, and somebody's going to take a shot at him because he's got too much talent. He needs. It's hard to come back from those injuries, but he needs a mental break now. You can see it, and he was also very close to our photographer when I used to work for the New York Post, Anthony Causey. And Anthony was the one that arranged that shot where we went up to his ranch and hung out with him. So who knows what he's dealing with because he's a private soul. But I think there's a lot more going on there than just frustration with baseball.
Interesting. I honestly don't doubt that one bit. Getting back to the underachievement thing, let's touch on the Joe Kelly situation that happened this week where he tried to single-handedly get retribution on the Houston Astros. Now, speaking of underachievement, the Astros, I believe, Bregman, Correa, Altuve, I think they're each hitting in the 180s, I believe. Not exactly sure where, but as of today, that's where they were hitting. And that's what happens when you don't know when a freaking breaking ball's coming. But Joe Kelly, now you guys are Sox fans, so you have experience with Joe Kelly. He seems like he likes to stir the pot, but he can't finish the job. That's another area of underachievement. He never got a punch in on Tyler Austin when he tried to fight him. He never did. That's the God's honest truth.
Him out to the mound like
I've watched it. Yeah, and then he still punched the ground. He missed him. And he walked away with his thing, his jersey ripped open and a couple like cat marks on him. So it was a little cat fight. I'm not saying Tyler Austin. I'm not saying Tyler Austin like beat him in the fight. There were two idiots, and neither of them they were just kind of doing one of those. So, not saying that. But now he's trying to gain respect from his teammates, and everybody around the league is giving him the stroke about. Oh yeah, I know he got him. He didn't do anything. He didn't hit him. He threw 5 pitches in the general vicinity of these guys. Now. Talk about underachievement. Kevin, you spoke about this today with Goose Gossage in your column. What the hell is wrong with these guys? Like, everybody's praising this guy for not hitting somebody because he couldn't find a strike zone, if his life depended on it. The guy broke his own window trying to learn how to throw a changeup. This guy's terrible, and now he's like the savior of baseball. I find that terrible. Baseball's going down the wrong path if everyone is rewarding that. And the worst part is, guy gets suspended for 8 games and never even hit anybody. So, Kevin, I want you to start talking about that. And what do you think about this Joe Kelly thing?
Well, Goose and I go way back. I really pushed for him to get in the Hall of Fame. And so I called him, and he called me back a few days. He called me back about a day after I called him. And he said, I got a lot of calls, but I'm not calling anybody back but you. And this is what I think. Because I asked him the same question. What about this Joe Kelly guy? And he goes, hey, Kelly, hit the guy at least. You got 8 games, and you didn't even hit the guy. And I asked Goose, I said, what do you do? What do you hit? What do you aim? What do you do, Goose? He goes, you pick about 5-6 inches behind their back, and you throw it right there, and you just let them get hit right in the back, and then they go on the ground and they spin like a top. And, so Goose tells it like it is. In the old days with the Yankees, he talked about the Orioles. First day of spring training, they came out, and they hit Nettles. They took Willie Randolph out to left field on a play at second base. The Yankees waited all spring, and he got Al Bunbury late in the spring on getaway day.
Drilled him. Yep.
Drilled him. And but nobody said anything. Bunbury took it like a man. And like Goose told me, he says this was before breakdancing. And when I hit Bunbury, he started breakdancing. And so Goose is I asked one last thing on Goose with what he would have done with the Astros. He said, and he didn't even waver. He said it right away. He said, you got to hit at least 10 of them in a row. 10 in a row. That's what you got to do. And he was not kidding. He was not kidding.
I believe it.
So field justice would have taken care of this. There wouldn't have been none of the fines and Manfred getting involved and all the stuff with the smaller schedule, and it's like a bigger it's a bigger suspension. But in reality, it's not. If this suspension had happened on July 26th in the regular season, he still would have got 8 games. So I don't know what they're talking about. But it's an example of today's player not taking care of business. And if he hit Bregman right in the back or in the hip, he would have moved on, message delivered, and I think everybody would have been happy. But now
that's it.
Now he's got his own hitters in peril.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. Kaiser, I remember you telling me how great Joe Kelly was. The guy couldn't hit the side of a barn. Don't give me that look. You did. You did. You did. You absolutely did.
And by the way, Kevin, awesome article. I really enjoyed that one. That was really, really, really cool.
Don't change the subject. Let's go.
Yeah, go ahead. Because you did. You said Joe Kelly was like, because there was one night, and, I think you were visiting me. And, you're sitting there, and, we're talking about the Joe Kelly-Tyler Austin brawl, which, like, I call it a cat fight, because the two of them couldn't hit each other. And so Joe Kelly couldn't hit the side of a barn with a pitch. He couldn't hit the giant net in his yard, and then he couldn't hit Tyler Austin that was right in front of him. And Tyler Austin couldn't hit him either.
Walk around with the ball.
Oh, wait, Kevin, maybe.
I'm going to get out of here real quick. I just want to mention this, though. It stopped people from talking about Howie Kendrick's home run against him.
That is true. That was that ruined his, So I mean, you guys are Boston fans, and, what do you think about Joe Kelly? And, like, I think he was an underachiever. I mean, the guy gave up huge home runs. The only thing he did was swing and miss, like everybody in baseball does, at Tyler Austin. So, real quick, because I don't want to stay on Joe Kelly too long, because everybody's kissing his ass, and I really don't want to give him too much.
No problem. No, but if you look at it in 2018 when the Sox won the World Series, that he was a key part of that whole thing.
Bullshit.
He turned it on in the postseason.
Bullshit. That was all Nathan Eovaldi.
Kelly was right there, man. He was right there.
Okay.
And number 2, I think the suspension, I mean, obviously you're saying he would have got 8 games anyway, but I think the real thing is that he went for the head with Bregman. He was up around the head. But the thing is like, Kelly doesn't know where the fuck the ball is going,
That's the thing. Yeah, I mean,
how do you know where it's going? Look, even back in the day, Pedro tried plunking people and he'd miss them.
No.
All right, Dan, wait, hold on. Dan's pissed. No. Go ahead. Go, Dan. Go.
Pedro's got control. Pedro could pitch. If he wanted to hit you in the head, he'll hit you in the head. Kelly, I'll be honest with you, never been a fan. He throws as hard as he throws. He should be a great pitcher, and he's not. That's what gets him by is he can throw 100. He can't. He almost hit Bregman in the head because he doesn't know where the hell his balls are going.
That's what I'm saying.
It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. You're a pitcher in the major leagues. If I'm going to tell you I'm going to throw you a fastball in the ribcage, then God damn it, I better throw that ball in the ribcage.
Thank you.
And they don't do that. They don't know how to pitch and how to throw. That's why he's an embarrassment. Me personally, forget this whole COVID crap. If I was Correa, I would have lunged at him and beat the shit out of him.
You can say
why?
It,
Because everything he did afterwards with the mocking to me was very disrespectful. I get it. You're mad. I get it. You're mad. I know what happened is cheating. But when you start doing that childish behavior, you deserve to get a freaking right cross around your, right by your chin. I just don't. They don't know how. Today they don't know how to. They don't know how to throw it. They don't know the proper. Kevin had a great conversation with Goose, and Goose will tell you this. We know when to throw at you and how to do it. There is a right way and a wrong way. These guys don't even know that. And that's why the game is going the way it's going. Somebody hits a home run, and they hit the next guy. Why would you hit the next guy? Hit the guy that hit the home run his next time at bat.
Yeah.
But don't do that.
Well, pitchers aren't in the game. They're not allowed in the game long enough to come around again.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Kelly goes, I thought it was a weak display of his on
it was terrible.
On trying to throw at all those guys. It was
terrible.
Just hit the guy.
Just drill him and move on. It's over.
That's it.
It's over. And instead, the people that love this shit with everybody striking out in the 3 true outcomes, walk, home run, that's it. Everybody's like, oh, they're making T-shirts. Free Joe Kelly, this, that. Hit the guy. Just hit the guy. If you can't but he can't even hit the catcher's glove. So there's no way in hell. No way in hell. Rolly, go. Joe Kelly.
I don't know how I could add to that, but I will say, I know that you were lying when you said that you and Kaiser were talking about Joe Kelly when he came out to visit you, because I've been around you two, and all you talk about is braising beef. And
All
so,
right.
okay, so I know you weren't talking about Joe Kelly. You were talking about the latest and greatest and how to get a beef to taste this way in a smoker. So don't tell me you were talking about Joe Kelly.
He's got a point, dude.
All right, okay, you got a point. But I think it came up at some point. And Kaiser's looking at this book. He's like, this book's awesome. Who wrote this book? And then he looks down, says, Rocco Constantino. He looks over at Rocco. He's like, oh, that's you. so that's, so there's that.
Great
So
book,
Rocco.
That's a good book.
I know.
No one ever accused Kaiser of having the grand vision.
No. It's true. So Rocco, I want to ask you. I mean, I think we've given Joe Kelly enough press for, 6 guys. I know you enjoy the game the way that it used to be played, and you probably have interviewed a guy who loved just smoking dudes. I know I interviewed David Wells, and he just loved beating the hell out of people when he had the chance. So I wanted to ask you if you had something to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game when it needs to be, and if you do it right, like Goose said in Kevin's article, you aim just behind their back, and they'll turn right into it. But what I was thinking of when you guys were all talking, and Kaiser mentioned my book, I interviewed Sean Estes for that book, and he was involved in that situation the year after Clemens and Piazza had the whole dust up, and Clemens drilled him in the head. So the first time Clemens had to come to bat at Shea Stadium, Sean Estes was on the mound. So I got to ask him about that, and he had a great perspective. He really – and I was at that game. I got some good pictures from that game too. But Estes, he really wasn't into it. The media – if you all remember, it was a media circus leading up to that game. And Estes kind of said he wasn't there last year. He understands his place as a pitcher, that you got to stand up for your teammates. But he kind of felt like he was in a bad spot because he wasn't there that year and all this. And he just wants to go out and win the game. Mets it's a good team. That's a huge game. He doesn't want to go out there and get tossed. So anyway, Estes' beef was, I wasn't here. I was kind of waiting around all week for Piazza to say something in the media like, hey, these games are important. We can't worry about that. Piazza never said anything. And then, Estes threw behind him intentionally. Didn't want to hit him, but wanted to send the message. And then there's a little dust up. But Estes' point was he was a little ticked at Piazza at the time, saying, Piazza's 6 inches away from Clemens when Clemens came to bat. He wanted to take care of him. He could have taken care of him there. He could have charged the mound multiple times on him, pass the buck. And then it fell on the new guy, Estes, to try to drill somebody, and he really didn't want to. So that's what made me think of it. I don't know if that really relates too much, but just shows you how much that drilling people kind of plays a part of the game there.
Yeah, and I agree, and I feel like it should. And, like hitting for contact or beating the shift, it kind of is falling by the wayside. So I'm going to go around. I'll start with Rolly. What's your final thought on this season and what we're going to see? And are we going to see any more?
Well, I have no idea if we're going to see more. Not if it stays the way it is right now. But I kind of want to see my whole goal as a baseball fan is kind of watch other teams this year. I've given as a Sox fan right now.
Yeah, I would too.
It's miserable to watch a game. So I don't know. I'll just watch some other teams, see what they got going. I'm sure Kaiser will be scouting some players and blowing me up on who the Sox are gonna sign next. But I don't know. Right now, just waiting on this hurricane, waiting on everything else to get out of here, and
nice.
Keep on trucking.
All right, fair enough. Keep on trucking. Kaiser, since he just said, you're gonna tell him who, this guy peed on the side of the toilet in the clubhouse, so that you need to know about him.
Real deal.
Yeah. Who's the real deal? Like, who's the real deal for you? And who do you see coming, and what do you think is going to happen this year? We're going to see the end of the season?
I think we're going to see the end of the season sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I just saw a little thing that said that the Cardinals have a ton more cases.
And it's going up.
Yeah. You're already losing. You're already talking about teams having to pull double headers, and they're only going to have 7 innings on the double headers, and
that's horrible.
It's horrible. It was bad enough when you were saying you're going to start extra innings with a guy on second base. What the fuck is up with that?
I know.
Honestly, this season is just such a disappointment to me, and I'm not only just as a Red Sox fan, but just as a baseball fan in general.
You know,
I was hoping that with the expanded rosters, you're going to see some of these younger kids playing and everything. And it's you're not even getting that. It's bullshit, dude. I almost hate to say it. I feel awful saying it, but I'm almost just pull the plug on it and just start next year. Be like, guys, it was a lost season. Because anyone that wins this year, anything, a batting title, anything, it's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
If the Yankees won a World Series this year, would you say we got 28, or would you be like, we got 27
and a half?
Yeah.
27-ish.
27-ish. Yeah, exactly. No,
26 rings, a pocket watch, and a fucking Costco gift card. But in any case, Dan, let's go with you. What do you think? Final thought.
I'm still hoping for a season. All right. I think the reason we're seeing a lot of these issues is because right from the very top, it wasn't done right.
Yeah, it was mishandled. You're right.
And, that's it. I'm trying to find the positive in this. I really am. I love the game. It's my life. So I want to see teams like the Twins. I want to see them play. I want to see how they're doing. The Yankees are going to be destroying everybody. But I want to see the White Sox and what they have with these young players.
I agree with that. Yeah,
so I really – what I've seen so much of is just negativity on the media scale of season's over, this is ruined. Look, we all knew what we were getting into. It wasn't done right from the beginning, so let's just suck it up and make the season go forward. That's really the way I feel about it. I think they mishandle it from the very get-go.
Well, I agree with you 100%. Now we're going to go to Kevin Kernan because I know you're going to have something good to say about this.
Well, first off, the Yankees win. It'll be World Series-wise, it'll be 27.7. I think
that is with the math. All right, that's true.
With the math. This is being one of those math. But I'm actually, like Dan, I'm rooting. It seems to me like there's an awful lot of people saying, and again, if it comes from your heart, I get it. But there's a lot of people saying, just shut it down, close. First of all, have we heard, and maybe I'm ghoulish here or anything, but have we heard anything about guys actually being sick? I know guys have COVID, but it seems like most of it's asymptomatic, right?
Well, no. Eduardo Rodriguez had that that heart
Rodriguez
thing.
Is the big one, of course.
Yeah. But aside from him, no. We wish him the best.
About different flus. If you get a flu, that can attack your heart too.
It's true. That's true.
But I'm not trying to be, I don't have my head buried in the sand. But I do think this is the reason you had the expanded rosters. Let's go. And maybe if you get through this early period and you get some cancellations, the good news would be once your guys come back, they're back, And my son in February, we thought he had it. Turned out it was double pneumonia. And they kept saying, no, but he has the antibodies. He just got tested last week.
So he didn't have it.
Yeah, exactly. So my point is that hopefully these guys don't get major symptoms and they can move forward and get back and playing. And I want to see, it's such a strange year, I want to see the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series together to bring some kind of normalcy back, because everybody could relate to a Dodgers-Yankees World Series.
I agree with you 100%, and I think that would be just the most fitting. I mean, they should have just given us that. Just give us a Dodgers-Yankees tournament and let everybody stay safe.
Guy.
Yeah, that's all. Just give us a tournament. So last but not least, I'm going to go to Rocco. Did you fall asleep?
No, I was just reading.
Okay, that's fine. I'm kidding. But I want to go to Rocco, get your final thoughts, and then we will do your Ombudsman routine.
Okay. It's funny. Last week when you asked the question, percentage confidence on a full season, I would have said 100%, like a few of the other people. I think Kevin said that, Jeff Fry. And, that dropped fit. By the middle of the week, I'm sitting here going, shoot, I'm less than 50% that they're going to finish this season. But I kind of agree with like what Kevin said. It's not like these players are getting hospitalized, and it's not, we're not trying to make light of any situation. It's serious. It's something I don't want to go through. But I've had family members and friends that have had this and had it without the very serious conditions. And you go through it, you battle, you take your 2 weeks, and then you come back and you're pretty well fine. The guys who had it early in spring training, guys like Freddie Freeman, they come back and they look okay. They're recovered and ready to go. So it's a 60-man roster, and I think they'll find a way. If they're willing to play 7-inning doubleheaders and put guys on second base and do all that, I'm still hopeful that they're going to find a way to finish this season.
Well,
go ahead.
No, well, I agree with that 100%. And I mean, like you said, I mean, with guys being shut down earlier, I mean, a guy like DJ LeMahieu, he was shut down. He came back with 0 at-bats. Guy's hitting over 400 already. I mean, he could be – I mean, he's that type of player. He's that type of old-school player we want to see. He's the kind of guy who could keep it up and actually could hit 400 over a 60-game season. So, I mean, I want to see it end. I want to see it, through till the end. And whether we do or not, I mean, that's not up to us, unfortunately. I'm going to go to Rocco Constantino, the BallNine Ombudsman. Rocco, take it away.
All right, thanks. Thanks for giving me something right at the end there. LeMahieu's down 385, so not over 400.
Liar.
Still pretty impressive, though, to come back. You have COVID and you're out, and you come right back in with that. So I had David Wright in 2015. He batted 185 in the postseason. But I still maintain that his presence helped the team. And he played in 38 regular season games. Benintendi and Devers have combined for a 140 average this year. No good.
Wow.
Also, Red Sox, 9 games, 1 stolen base from Benintendi. That's it. The whole team. So they're not – and they can't manufacture runs, or they refuse to try to manufacture runs. Chris had the Tampa Bay Rays at 4 games back. With their loss today, they are now 5 back. And if the Yankees win, they'll be 5.5 back. So they're in a deep hole. Got Kevin here, breakdancing. First form of breakdancing that to be filmed, believe it or not. Thomas Edison filmed somebody breakdancing in 1894, testing his camera.
Well,
Wasn't called breakdancing at the time, but it was a guy dancing and spinning on his head and doing some moves that would later become breakdancing. 1894. And I did not know that off the top of my head. I had to look that up. And I'll ding Kevin again on the way out. First comment of the show, Kevin said he was underachiever, but if you're making the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, I don't think you're an underachiever, Kevin. So kudos on that. And there's my
awesome. Thank you, Rocco. And honestly, Kevin, that is true. Now, November 1st, and I know Rocco and I are, as long as they let us out there, we're coming. So otherwise, there's going to be a big empty table. So I'm coming no matter what. I want to say thank you to Chris Rolandelli, Kurt Vollhardt, Kevin Kernan, Dan Tiant. Once again, our ombudsman, Rocco Constantino. And I want to say R.I.P. to Pops, Wilford Brindley. I should have been a farmer, Red. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Roundhouse. Thanks for coming.